Welcome back to the KAYLA Unfiltered, the Housing Call-In Show, the place where you get the mic, your story, your experience, your rent. This is where it belongs. No scripts, no filters, just the truth Canada keeps avoiding. And today's guest, buckle up, is Shawn Allen. Isn't just a mortgage leader. He's a force, 5-time CMA Broker of the Year, top 100 global mortgage pro, and running one of the most FSRA-compliant brokerages in the entire country. FSRA literally points to his brokerage as a model everyone else should follow. But that's not all. He's built the Affordable Housing Summit, which I was a part of. He built the Toronto Business Summit, and he's a Scarborough Walk of Fame for the elevating the entire industry and communities. Shawn is coming in hot with the truth about Canada's debt crisis, Bill 60, employment, AI, and where our housing system actually is heading. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just bold, smart, spicy conversation people need to hear. Let's get into it. Hi, Shawn. Thanks so much for joining.
Hey, thanks for having me. What a great intro. This is good. I like this.
I'm not doing. I'm the talker. I'm doing the buttons. I got some pictures we're going to share with everybody. So,
Yeah,
not too bad. I want to make sure that we are keeping it fun and engaging and real, and something that you don't normally see on podcasts that are usually
yeah,
recorded and edited.
yeah. This is good. I like the raw and uncut. It's a perfect blend.
So we got a lot to unpack. This is the guys, who got me in front of Michael Tabolo, who is the associate to Doug Downey, who I was able to present our recommendations to. I got some pictures of not only is Shawn connected me to this guy, but he's my photographer. Watch this. So this is him. We're sitting down advocating for the housing industry, and Shawn has been so helpful to captivate this memory. Obviously, it was a good conversation because me and Michael are smiling there, and now we have Bill 60. So I want to thank you, Shawn, for connecting us to that, because it was a part of this overall housing summit that we were all part of with the affordable housing.
Yeah, it's you know what, thank you for doing what you do, and to all the people that are associated with you and your movement. It's very important that we, stay united and stay abreast to, the things that really matter, and, make sense out of nonsense, because sometimes, when you listen to the media and, all different channels, sometimes the message gets misconstrued. So I want to thank you for, all the work that you do, the tireless work, a lot of it free. And, sometimes, it's, you don't get the just deserve that you want. So I just want to put that out there. But yeah, so Shawn Allen, I have multiple hats, but I guess today I'm in the hat of mortgage professional and business consultant. I was a previous candidate for Scarborough Park City Council position.
Woo!
The deputy mayor, she left and she went off to greener pastures, working under Carney and in representing Ajax, and that spot became available, and I put my name forward to run to represent Scarborough Park residents, where I live here in Scarborough,
And you came
for city
in what
council.
place?
I came third out of 20 my first time running, almost 3,000 votes. So it was a pretty good. I lost to a trustee, the incumbent trustee for the area, and a former city council when the area, before amalgamation of consolidation of the wards. So the guy that beat me, he got support from the mayor and Progress Toronto. So, that put him over the edge. But it was a great race, and I would definitely do it again.
But
Yeah, and I
that's
encourage
but
people. Yeah.
go into that. Like, one, it's like trying to encourage everybody, no matter like what level of government, and you can tell through the comments on any topic that a lot of people are confused to find out like which level of government does what. I find municipal to be very, very important, and we start to see municipal starting to take on roles that the province should be doing. But when it comes down to like how people can support a candidate for the next, because we have another municipal election that's coming up in October of 2026, and you are planning on running again, right?
Yeah, you heard it here first, right on your show, that I'm definitely going to put my name forward to run again. And you know what? People do need to understand the differences of, the different levels of government. And you know what? Municipal government, you kind of run as an independent. You're not really officially tied to a party, even though there's some party affiliations that
Oh,
happen in the background.
sometimes it's
Um,
all the time.
yeah, well, yeah, it's true.
Most of
It's
the
true.
time.
Most of the time, it's very important for people to understand that. But municipal politics is housing, it's roads, it's property tax, and these are things that, and you're the closest level of government to the people, right? So you are the one who they're going to come to and complain, and then you, as that, I guess, conduit, have to disseminate that information to the different ranks, and they're going to hold you accountable for that. So as a business owner, I'm very comfortable in that position. I'm very comfortable communicating. I'm very comfortable getting back to people in a timely manner. I'm very comfortable in, problem solving. And I think, that was the value that I wanted to bring to city council, especially considering I live in Scarborough Rouge Park. It's probably, I guess, it's the largest ward in Toronto, and it's in Scarborough. It's the uh, highest income per capita in Scarborough as well. So it's a very affluent neighborhood, very diverse neighborhood, and I felt that I would be a good representative for
I think
that.
you still are. I think you still are. I think this is just how we are starting to look at sitting elected officials helping out candidates that they feel would potentially, make it a little easier for them to get what they want pushed in. And this is where I've always said to everyone, like, you got to find out who's going to be running for the next election now. And we need to
Mhm.
start helping those elected officials or those potential elected officials get into that position, because it's really hard to kind of take out an incumbent, and it's really hard to go up against someone that is so backed by an incumbent of an elected official. And honestly, I feel that the mayor should have stayed out of it, because obviously we know what she's doing now with the taxes on $3 million homes. Like, she's literally attacking like anyone who has money, pretty much saying, hey, if you worked hard all your life and you made more money, like, yeah, we're going to take it away from you.
Yeah, and I ran my campaign on taxes and keeping taxes down, not lowering taxes, but just keeping them down. And to keep them down, we have to find
Mm,
efficient ways of spending tax dollars and be responsible. So I've put together a group with a few others called the Fiscal Guardians, Coalition of Concerned Taxpayers, and we're going to be, consolidating that movement going forward. And we want to just make sure that we have an accountability of where our tax dollars are going. So
mhm.
are we wasting money on, for example, $25 million to put bus lanes out that create traffic and gridlock? One of the things that I stood for in the campaign was, moving traffic. I'm pro transit. I like the thought process of bus lanes. I'm
Mm,
pro transit, but I'm anti congestion. So if you have traffic on a major artery leading to a highway, and one lane is completely jammed with traffic and a bus lane is completely empty because buses are running every 15 to 20 minutes, I think it's, prudent, and it makes good sense to allow people to drive on those bus lanes with high occupancy, two three people in that lane driving during rush hour, to the highway. So I think there's opportunities for us to look at where we're spending our tax dollars, and do a line by line audit, and find some efficiencies. Because as a business owner, you're a business owner as well.
mm.
You're going to look at your expenses and you're going to say, hey, where do I cut? Where can I stretch? And I think that needs to happen at City Hall as well.
Oh, it definitely needs to happen. Like, we're like, we have people losing their jobs. We have people who are, having to waiver paying their mortgage right now based on what is happening, but we still see the spending continuing at a municipal level. And this is where I've always said, like, you got to run your city, run your province, almost like a family. Here's what you need.
Hmm.
This is nice. These are things that, like, you want, but you need to focus on the things that you need right now to get us through these troubling times. I want my money. It's nice to be giving money to organizations to help them provide services to the communities, but at the same time, I need to keep my bills low. And especially as a housing provider, I need to keep it low, because what we're seeing is municipal government increasing property taxes onto the homeowners, aka also landlords, and then they're shocked when the landlords are like applying to the landlord and tenant board for an above the guideline rent increase. So,
Mhm.
and then they use like Olivia Chow as an example, who wants to make this look like it's a landlord versus tenant situation. And here she's increasing our property taxes in Toronto and causing that rift into why the income or the rents need to rise. And again, we've seen such a decline in our international students, so we are seeing prices dip, but they still keep all their municipal programs in place. Now, I have a question for you. I don't, obviously this is not really rehearsed, and you can like bow out if you want to. But if you got into that position, what municipal program related into housing would you want to scrap for the landlords?
What do you mean scrap? I don't know. Like I'm not a landlord myself. I have a few properties, and I'm actually nervous about being a landlord because of all of the rules and restrictions that come along with and rights that are born to the tenant as opposed to the landlord. So being a landlord, you know, actually terrifies me, and I feel for landlords that are going through, and I've seen it firsthand where they're going through tribunal cases that are stretched out. But I am a real estate professional, so I'm privy to that. But at the end of the day, I think there needs to be a balance in power as with respects to the rights and the roles and responsibilities that the courts play with regards to landlord and tenant rights and concerns, because there's a real imbalance that's taken place where you have someone that doesn't pay their rent. They're afforded opportunities to continue not to pay their rent to the detriment of the landlord who has to pay their mortgage, and there's not the same rights afforded to them, right? So I think it's important that when we're talking about rights, we have to look at it from a level playing field and see what the cause and effects are with regards to how landlords are treated and even how tenants are treated. So I can't really talk about what I would change in that respect, but that's one thing that I've observed, and it just for myself and my own vantage point, I wouldn't want to be, or I wouldn't have wanted to be a landlord, just with the delays that are happening and the process to remedy a landlord-tenant dispute. Like in Alberta, for example, I had a friend of mine. She had a landlord-tenant dispute, and it was very efficient in Alberta. um, you know, Getting the tenant out. Like if you don't pay, you got to go. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I don't know what the issue was in Ontario. Now, I guess we're moving into Bill 60 conversations, but I think there's definitely some benefits in the Bill 60 conversation. Is it perfect? No, but it moves us in the right direction to balance the playing field. So that's for sure.
Well, and that's the thing. Like we have Bill 60, and we'll get into a little bit of the things that, like, obviously having orders that are public. But when I was referring to like the questions of scrapping, it was more municipal because we have landlord licensing, you have like Safe Toronto TO, you
Mhm.
have the vacancy tax, we have water billing that's happening, we have rent eviction bylaw that the tenant unions are,
Yeah.
trying to push. So when you see something happening so good at the provincial level that they've waken up to balance that playing field, but then we see municipal government starting to cross over to the provincial side of things. Like that's where I was kind of leading into.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, but talking about, I guess we could start with the vacancy tax. I think there needs to be an overhaul of that process,
mhm.
because a lot of people, maybe they travel 6 months of the year. Maybe, they have a language barrier. Maybe they don't check their mail that often. I don't know. There could be a wide range of reasons why, someone may or may not fill out that vacant property
Well,
form.
the fact that they can't move back into it after a year, like it's like you got to give obviously the 60 to 119 days notice and or 4 months now without compensation. So
Yeah,
that's where a lot of it had came down to
yeah.
why people started. They wanted to do a short term, but when the leases go to an automatic month to month, that's
Mhm.
where Alberta is a lot better than what Ontario is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you know what? There's a lot of things that Alberta is doing in the landed tenant space that I think Ontario can adapt, and they're working very well over there. We don't have a lot of the issues that we have in Ontario and Alberta. So I think there's definitely a cause for conversation in regards to how they're doing it in Alberta for Ontario for sure.
Now, do you see a future bills like Bill 60 coming? Like, do we have more? Do you think what do you think?
Maybe, maybe. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. I know in every municipality they have different things. Like Hamilton, we're talking about some of the things that are happening in Hamilton and Brampton, for example, as well. I think there needs to be consistency uh, across regions with regards to how landlord tenant issues are handled. I don't know what are you seeing in Hamilton that like for example, we're talking about the landlord registration in Brampton, for example, and I think they have that in Hamilton too.
Yeah, they got the
Um,
landlord licensing in Ward 1, 8, and 14, pretty
yeah,
much discriminating against the areas that are more highly populated for students, right?
yeah,
So again, it comes down to them wanting now to bring this into a citywide landlord licensing. And again, like, are the bad actor landlords actually signing up for it? Probably not. Like most,
yeah,
I bet you they're not. It's really just cracking down on these good landlords taking revenue away from their business in order to put it back into the property or to
mhm,
put it into more supply, even though they have encampments. Like they was it was all over the place with their shipping containers that they bought from China, a lot more money, and
yeah.
like it's a mess. It's an
That was a
absolute
fiasco, big fiasco on that. And
yeah.
that was the one they said they were Canadian, but they found out they're made in China, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
big
and
fiasco there.
So this and you go and you listen. Like I just took part into the landlord licensing conversation that they just had. It's coming to a full vote now from City of Hamilton regarding landlord licensing on the 10th of December, and you can see which counselors are like. Obviously, Rob Cooper, top, like shout out to him. He needs to stay in Hamilton. Esther Paul's another counselor. She needs to stay in with the common sense factor. But the rest of them, oh my, I'm going to post a link to in the chat for everyone to go back and rewatch how these people were treating the housing providers within their city. And then they wonder why their taxes are increasing because now it puts more pressure on taxpayers to build, manage, maintain, and subsidize more government housing.
Yeah, most definitely. And people don't realize the costs that go into, you know, putting your place up for rent. Like these are small mom and pop people that are, just trying to make an extra buck to balance out inflation. And that's a big thing. Inflation is not fully represented in the numbers that are reported. I was just looking at a report a couple of days ago, just looking at food cost inflation, just to be specific. Meat's up like 33%, formula's up almost 15%. And the list goes on and on. So, when you couple that with, a tenant not paying, um, the rent increase guidelines, there needs to be some adjustments to that because water is up, electricity is up, like all of these things are forcing landlords to increase, and if you don't have a way to remedy that, it puts you at a real disadvantage, and that's one of the things I want to advocate for sure.
Now, what do you see with the debt that's happening? Are you seeing a lot of people default on their mortgages?
Yeah, right now, I was looking at a report, and I made a LinkedIn post about this a couple of days ago too. About 1 in 35 Canadians are behind on their mortgage. It was 40 million Canadians roughly, so that's about 1.2, 1.5 million Canadians are behind on their mortgage. It's a lot of pressure, especially for renewals. Right now, we're in a big renewal season. Stagnant wage growth and persistent inflation. Housing affordability is getting stressed to the limit. So, having that at the forefront of the conversation right now in the mainstream media about people being behind, it's really a telltale sign. Another thing too is you know rising use of seniors for reverse mortgages. That's a real indicator because the most vulnerable, one of the most vulnerable sectors or population segments is the seniors who are on fixed income. And we're seeing a large uptick of people using reverse mortgage right now. There used to be only one player. in the
And
reverse mortgage
we
space.
lost your camera, Shawn.
And, that's to show that people
Shawn, we
really
lost your
can't
camera.
afford. There's an affordability crisis stemming from this financial crisis where, interest rates, debt levels,
At
and
least you can still
cost of
hear him.
living is continuing to climb.
I don't know if he can hear me. Shawn, can you hear me? Shawn.
I lost you there.
Yeah, your camera's gone too. I don't know if he is gonna. There he goes. He's coming back on. I think so.
Yeah, I lost you there. Did you?
Yeah. We got the
I can't
voice.
even hear you. Give me a sec. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Oh my
I
goodness.
lost you completely. Give me one sec.
Get
I
out
don't
and
know
get
what's
back in.
going on.
So as we'll get Shawn fixed up here, getting him back on.
I lost you completely. No sound at all. But you can hear me though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot hear you.
No worries. I'll keep everybody in the loop of
Give
what's
me a
on the
second.
go. So, guys, just want to let you know that we do have a couple of
Let me
other.
see if I come out and come back in. I lost your sound. Give me
You
one
gotta
sec.
love live. This is live. Again, we don't want to do any recordings or editing, so bear with us. But I'll give you guys a little bit of a lowdown
Yeah, I
on the
lost my sound completely. Give me one sec.
Hamilton Landlords Association. They are doing the Hamilton District Apartment Association. They did very well for our community, advocating at the municipal committee meeting. We want to make sure that we're encouraging more of you to still write your letters to the elected officials at the cities to identify that Hamilton landlord licensing is just going to deter anyone who wants to be in Hamilton and of course causing the rents to rise at the same time. So I really want to make sure that you start to get to know who these elected officials are. I've starting to add them on LinkedIn and into Facebook.
I'm
So it's
back.
going to be, hey, we're just keep talking about landlord licensing in
Yeah.
Hamilton, telling people that they got to get very familiar who these elected officials are who voted for this, so that we can try to stop it for the next election.
Yeah.
Okay, as
Yeah.
you were saying, Shawn.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? With the reverse mortgages, it's very important that we kind of look at these indicators to see where the economy is going. Like I was saying, I don't know if you heard what I was saying, the rising number of seniors using reverse mortgages.
Mhm.
It's very important to look at these indicators and see where some of the stresses are happening.
I actually
In
just spoke with
retirement.
an elected official this morning talking about the seniors and how they don't have enough equity to keep pulling out of their properties, but they don't get covered for any type of programs, and they're starting to think about going towards MAID because they look at the price of food and they're worried. They're very, very worried, and they don't have anybody here to take care of them. So this is where where do you, if you could get one change, Shawn, happening at any level of government, what would you want to see changed?
Oh, there's quite a few. We need more supports for seniors. I actually work with Minister Raymond Cho, who's the Minister for Seniors, and we put together a seniors fair. There's a lot of gaps in resources for seniors that we need to identify. Accessibility, language barriers is another one, and specific health requirements are big for seniors too. So, tackling seniors issues is probably because that's the large segment of the population, that baby boomer, that's going to require a big load. It's going to be require a big uptick of resources in the near future. And in this neighborhood where I'm at too, there's a large senior population. So supports for seniors is critical, and I think the government could do more to provide supports. I know they have a few things that they're doing with rebates for heat and property tax and things like that. But I think there needs to be a little bit more supports for seniors. I think that's one thing we should look at.
Oh, definitely. Like right now I've spoke with my the gentleman running our local shelter, and he said 40% of the people in the shelter are seniors, right? So,
Yeah.
it comes down to like them losing money from having their spouse pass away on them, and now they lose money and they have to downsize out of their home because they can't afford to keep maintaining it. So it does come to a troubling time to see what is happening in Canada. And for I don't have the stats. I would like to know the stats if everyone's listening and actually could pull this up if they're somewhere online where people are leaving Canada. I think people are very much on a fear fact of, look at what's happening. Look at people losing their job. The steel industry is being severely impacted. We see elected officials not really representing the voice of the people. They're not doing us any good speaking with our counterparts in the States. And, and they want to just pull this fear and that Trump is bad, right? It's like, well, okay, we get what's going on, but he's obviously doing it for a reason. And we have so many scandals in our country. Like, how is anyone taking us seriously?
Yeah, and on that Trump, conversation, Trump is doing what Trump needs to do based on his vantage point for his people,
Yeah.
and to that conversation, it's making Canada stronger, right? So we're unifying on fronts that we've never unified before. It's providing us more clarity on, a real Canadian brand and the Canadian pride. So we have to look at in every situation, what are the advantages of this, disadvantage of having these trade wars and tariff wars. So I think it's very important that we have to look at things holistically and see where we can, really benefit as a country and as a people to really weather the storm. And you have to diversify. You have to
Oh, I think they're
diversify.
doing great on that part of it. But then again, we're seeing like another layoff of 1,000 people.
And they're going to continue to happen. And you know what, AI is going to come for a lot more jobs as well.
Mhm.
I did a piece on that earlier today, talking about I think Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan and talking about the real risk of AI and how it's affecting the population. So I think that's one thing that people need to really get caught up with is technology and how to truly benefit from technology. They're using it in all types of segments.
Oh, yeah,
um,
they're using it to make it look like their apartment is cold and uploading it as evidence to try to get money back on their rent.
oh
So AI
wow.
is definitely is out there and is definitely working against some landlords at the same time. But it also helped landlords as well. Like even when you have a tenant sending you like a crap ton of like information, putting that through AI to say like streamline this for me, tell me what I need to provide my evidence to the landlord and tenant board as well. So it can have it's got its good advantages and it definitely has its negative because like we are seeing a lot of jobs go on the decline because of it as well.
Yeah, the official unemployment rate, as reported by StatsCan, is 7%, and that's the R6 unemployment rate, which is those people that are currently, looking for a job, and they're unemployed. But there's another measure, which is the R8 unemployment, which includes discouraged workers, people that are working in voluntary part-time, and those who aren't counted as officially unemployed, and that number is actually up in the 12% range. So now we're talking double digit unemployment, and AI is coming for a lot of those people that are currently in employed jobs, and they're going to be taking them out as well. So we have to be very mindful of how we approach the AI conversation and really think about some governance models to make sure that we're really putting our population into a position that they can walk away with the AI knowledge and be in a position of strength, or
Mhm.
else AI will wipe out a lot of industries.
Well, I think it goes into how we think of it as our housing providers, right? When there is layoffs that are happening, when AI is coming in taking the jobs of our tenants, like that's putting them at risk as well. And I think this is where these rental guarantee programs are coming into play to kind of help offset if a tenant stops paying rent, which kind of sucks because you lose like a good 5% of what your rental rate would be going into this program. But it is troubling to see how AI is coming for everyone's jobs.
Yeah, but it's not all doom and gloom. Some industries will still rely heavily on human interaction. But even as AI becomes more foundational, sectors rooted in judgment, empathy, creativity, and trust will remain essential, such as healthcare and senior care, the skills trade. Even though the operational mechanics behind skills trade may change, you still need to have those boots on the ground. Mental health and social services, education and training, creative strategy and storytelling, hospitality. Those things I think will still lead with AI assisted
Mm.
work, but I think those will still be safe positions. So AI won't replace those roles; it'll just supercharge those that are using it correctly.
Wow. So, well, the AI can't replace me, I guess. Can they? Can they?
No, they can't. They can't.
So I'm safe because it's a
You're
free job.
safe.
It's a free.
Yes, you're safe. You're safe.
Um,
However, you could use AI to potentially do interviews. I'm toying with that right now, where you make an AI avatar and then you can have conversations with the AI avatar. So it could duplicate you.
okay, I might have the I definitely am interested in duplicating myself. And I
Yeah,
normally am doing it the hard way right now. I'm training our housing providers, our property managers, our real estate agents, everyone out there to advocate for this industry because it's so important. Like, look at what a landlord does provide. Like, we keep our mortgage brokers in business. We keep our property managers and their staff and their maintenance guys in business. We
yeah,
do hold like I would always say that we're the backbone of this industry.
yeah,
And
sure.
unfortunately, it's great to see our provincial government waking up, but is it too late? I don't know. Like, a lot of still landlords are holding on because Bill 60 gave them that hope, but then they see people like Hamilton coming in with landlord licensing, paying over $800 per unit, and then over 600 for a renewal. This is where it's like how much restrictions and regulations are you going to put on the private investor just because we're considered a business and they want their hand in the cookie jar?
Yeah, and I'm fiscally conservative but socially liberal. And I think, once you start taxing people to death, the only thing to do is to hand those fees off to the end consumer. And it's gonna create
Yeah.
a point where, people can't afford that, right? So the supply and demand curve will reflect, all of these red tape items, and you'll start seeing a lax in them over time. But there has to be some resistance in place, and we have to continue to give up a fight to make sure that we can resist some of these things that really don't make sense.
You know what sucks though, Sean? Like when I'm doing these little interviews and I just want to give you guys a mic, and instead of having the conversation on the phone, I'm having it with everybody can see and tune in and jump in on the conversation.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's like we have so many people that are in our community. They work for the government. They're landlords themselves, or they're a property manager as well, and they just can't come out and tell their story
Hmm.
because of their work, right? So this is a way for us to say, hey, if you're interested in coming on and you have a story or you want to vent or you want to rant, come on, I'll keep your camera off. Like, keep your camera off. We'll change your name to Billy Joe, whatever you need to be, because I think it's important for people to tell us what's happening. And obviously, having you on today, we're getting to understand that AI is a little bit of a threat. We're going to see that as a problem getting people out of work, but we also have to see that there is people defaulting on their mortgages, which is something that I know has been slowly trickling its way through media, what people can see, because obviously we can't really upload the links directly to Facebook to inform our little communities that are out there.
Hmm.
And we do have something that's growing within the provincial government, and this is what I'm concerned about, Sean, and I want to get your thoughts before you take off. The NDP and how they are really trying to partner with like tenant unions and CUPE and everyone, like trying to attack the conservative government for Bill 60. Like, what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a one-sided conversation when you look at who are the ones that went to QP and who were the ones in the gallery complaining. I don't think there were any landlords there. And I think you have to
No, we were
realize,
at work.
yeah. So I think if I think if you pack the rooms with landlords, the conversation would have been different. I think the only thing consistent in this world is change, and when you have a group of people with one mindset. Looking to change a problem it's not going to change, right? So when you have a group of tenants in the room fighting against resistance, they're not looking at it from the lens and the perspective of the landlord who has to deal with the rising cost of electricity, hydro, water, gas, taxes and things like that. And then their only constraint, their only remedy is to increase rent, but there's a cap on that. So, when you start looking at things from both angles and have meaningful conversations, then I think at that point that you could get some middle ground consensus. But when you have the media stirring up, oh, look at Doug Ford said to the guy, get a job, and look at this person, they're screaming, they don't like the change. Well, the only thing consistent in this world is change, right? So things have to change for the better. Sometimes it's a win-lose situation, but we try to get win-wins. And I think Bill 60 really levels the playing field to some extent, but more work needs to be done. And we have to put more safeguards in place to protect both the landlords as well as the tenants. Because the last thing you want is to have a career tenant. And this is what that bill was trying to address, is those career tenants that know how to game the system, gaming the system at the detriment of hardworking Canadians like yourself and myself. And I think, yeah, at the end of the day, there has to be a line drawn in the sand to say enough is enough. We want to keep the housing crisis in check, but we need to get landlords like you and myself an opportunity to work and operate on a level playing field. And I think that's what Bill 60 was trying to address, and I'm all for that. And some people may like it, some people not. But you know what? You're always a villain in someone's storybook, right? So
That's
it
true.
doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, as long as you do what you feel is right,
Yeah.
no one's going to hold you and punish you for that. So that's my belief on that.
No, that's well said. And you know what? And this is where it's like when you see the NDP and when we had Mike Schreiner from the Green Party, who I'm going to show a quick photo for you guys to show proof. We sat with this guy and now he's making videos, pretty much attacking Doug Ford for creating Bill 60 that is legit bringing that common sense and trying to stop the bad actors. So that's why it's like hard to I to stomach why the Green Party and the NDP are attacking the Conservatives for just trying to take out those bad actors, right? It's just trying to take out the bad actors that are abusing. It's not about the people that can't pay, it's about the people that won't pay. And that's where there's programs that the government has in place to help those type of people as well. So I'm hoping to see more bills. I would like to see the government create like a task force to kind of oversee what's happening at the landlord and tenant board, because Bill 60 is there now, but how the landlord and tenant board like takes that is going to be another question. And I think that's where we have to have a bigger oversight to what's happening at the landlord and tenant board to make sure that it is creating that justice tribunal that does represent both people, landlords and tenants, because the adjudicators are from different backgrounds as well. So a lot of them are going to kind of choose how to rule based on their own little preference. So it's very important that we get to know who our adjudicators are and what the strategy is about training these people, because a lot of it does come down to a lot of training needed to make sure that we do have that competence at the landlord and tenant board. Shawn, if you had to give our members any advice, especially through, renewal season is coming, we have obviously a wave of increase of people not being able to make their rent payments, which is obviously going to impact the landlords not able to make their mortgage payment. What would you say to them?
Yeah, and in any market, up, down, left, right, there's more homeowners than home buyers. And one of the things that I, do as a mortgage professional is I provide alternative lending solutions for those people that, they do have trouble paying their rent. They may have credit challenges, they may have income challenges because they're not getting the rents. So I could provide solutions for people in that space. So if you have anyone that's listening that needs that support, they can reach out to me, and we'll put my contact information there. But at the end of the day, it's all about knowledge and knowing where to find resources. And in the mortgage space, I've been doing this now almost a quarter century, and providing
On
support for
that.
people. Yeah, so it's pretty good, right? So, providing support for people in that respect is what I specialize in: alternative and private financing, short-term financing to get you back on your feet. But just understanding and working as a collective and sharing resources with, like, for example, your platform is a tremendous help to a lot of people. And we need to get the message out there that there are supports and there are people advocating for you, to put you in a better space, because small landlords are critical to the environment and helping the housing supply, and we need to make sure that we're working together to bring that forward.
Well, Shawn, I can't thank you enough. And if you guys are wanting to come on, just have a conversation. Talk about from the economy to mortgages to your stories, your tenant stories. And hey, if you're a tenant, I want to have your story. I want to hear your side of it as well. We're not afraid to dump into that type of conversation as well. So I'm going to put our link here for the request to be on the show. Pretty much going to have another landlord coming on. He's from the BC market. Obviously, Ontario likes to model what's going on in BC. So I'm going to have him come on, and we have another gentleman by the name of Jason. Jason's going to be coming on, and we just got another request. So we're going to be pretty much lined up, hopefully until like the Christmas season's over, but definitely kicking it off in the new year. I will be on multiple different podcasts to keep the message and keeping our advocacy efforts alive and well, because I think it's more important than ever to just tell people what's happening, how it's what's happening, and how they can get involved, especially at that municipal level that's coming up for the 2026 election, and supporting our conservative government right now. We have to support them in their Bill 60, and I'm going to do as much. I got another write up letting you guys know my 2 cents on it, because it's really hard to kind of cover it all through a video, but just know that it's not quite in yet. So don't be serving your notices in 7 days and not 14. So just stay tuned to when those changes take effect. I'm sure our landlord and tenant board will let us know. And Shawn, thank you for all your support and literally connecting me with, obviously, Doug Ford himself. Love this photo. This is, and having him, champion the Bill 60 has been more help than we could ever ask for. But this is only a crumb of a very big cake.
Yes.
um, and just know that there is programs that are out there helping the tenants, but we have to close these loopholes of people starting to exploit those. And that's what my goal always has been, to really make sure that we are advocating for the good landlords, the good tenants, and of course our taxpayers, because we need to really get involved, guys, at a municipal level and hold these elected officials accountable as they are spending your money. And we have to make sure that you're not falling for the smoke and mirrors, and knowing that they're trying to captivate on this to get their name in headlights as the election is coming, and they're trying to appeal to the voters. So just it may look good on paper, but in the end, the long term is not good for the taxpayers as well. So just please reach out to me. I'd love to be able to talk about it in person with you, especially in your city. But just know that the landlords are starting to get more organized for 2026. So stay tuned. Shawn, thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to shout out, just talk about just quickly my book.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so I co-authored a book with Mark Keeley and David Tabucci. David Tabucci worked in the Mike Harris government, and Mark Keeley worked with Dalton McGuinty. And there's a whole host of other authors in there, 20 of us in total, talking about different aspects of networking and getting out. So I know, when it comes to landlord tenant conversations, getting out and meeting people. I met you out at an event, and we ended up engaging, and we became very, very tight. And I think it's important to get people out of their shell and networking. So the book is called The Ripple Effect. It's a networking book and just teaches people how to get out of their shell, how to network, and how to collaborate with people. I think that's very important to build a community organically on networking, on respect, on mutual benefit. And I would encourage everyone to go out and get a copy of it. It's on Amazon. It's a bestseller. It's in 4 different languages,
Oh,
and it's all available. And there's a lot of good people. Mitzi Hunter's in there. Myself. There's a whole host of people in there, that you could benefit from.
That's great. I put it in the chat here. So if everyone is curious about this book, it's pretty reasonable. 23.72. It's actually 12% off right now, guys, if you're interested in picking that up. And thank you, Shawn, for sharing that with us, because I think it is important for networking and connecting with each other. I think COVID kind of put us through this virtual world that we all live in, but it is important to meet in person. Do we have another housing summit that's coming up?
Yeah, I'm working on that right now. We have our old site up from this year, and people are still registering. So it shows that there's a demand for it, and we've been doing it now for, I think it's our third year now, and every conversation is getting more intensified. Every conversation is more impactful. One of the takeaways was Bill 60. I think that conversation that we had with Minister Tabolo kind of spearheaded that conversation because that was very impactful. And then I think you for sure were instrumental in getting Bill 60 over the line. And you know what, I'm happy to be a part of that journey, right? And this is what networking is all about. So most definitely there's some more things to tackle. And I don't necessarily need to have 3,000 people. I think when we were at Queen's Park, we had about 250, I think it was, a very intimate group. So yeah, it's all high level people coming out. So I definitely think we could have more engaging conversations. And one of the things I wanted to talk about just briefly was Barrels of Hope. Um,
Yes, we have that event coming up on the 13th.
Yeah, so there was a hurricane, Hurricane Melissa that passed through Jamaica a few weeks back, and really devastated the country. And Toronto's home to about 145,000 from the Jamaican community, and Scarborough has about 20,000 of them. So I put together this group. I'm the vice chair of the Boys and Girls Club, so they provided the space, and then we got Flow 98.7, and Specs, and a whole bunch of other people to come out to support this initiative. So we have uh, a great drive that we're putting together next Saturday, December the 18th, December the 13th. We're trying to pack 100 barrels to send back to Jamaica for those victims of Hurricane Melissa. It was a Cat 5 hurricane. And one of the things that we're doing with the Boys and Girls Club is we're sending a team out there to help rebuild on the ground. So, we've done the same type of initiative for St. Vincent, where they had Hurricane Beryl, and a year later, people are still displaced from their homes.
Wow.
There's parts of Jamaica that were completely flattened. So when we're talking about housing, and we're talking about affordable housing, we're talking about, bringing Canadian technology of modular construction into those regions, and then providing an opportunity to rebuild a country with Canadian steel, Canadian infrastructure, Canadian technology. So when you're looking at, getting into the housing space, look beyond Canada as well. Look at other regions that,
Oh, I think we're
especially.
ready to move there. Like we're starting. People are moving. I would like people are going to Mexico right now. So like don't.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? You can get into other regions and other jurisdictions and
Mhm.
then build with modular construction. So we're working with a group that, does steel frame modular construction to rebuild homes in that region. And there was a home that was there that was built before the hurricane, and it's the only one standing in the community, right? So that proof, that was a proof of concept design, and it's still in the community. So now we're getting full-fledged support from the government, and we want to push forward with the initiative to build more modular construction all across the Caribbean and in climate affected areas that get bombarded with hurricanes and typhoons. So
I
that's
know
something that's a takeaway.
and this is why Sean's into the Walk of Fame in Scarborough because of how he's looking out for everyone and he has this huge heart and he's taken me underneath his wing and brought me to places that I haven't been and hopefully one day we're gonna sit down with Doug Ford, right, Sean, and we're gonna have a coffee and
We'll set it up. It's doable.
We'll have a campfire like he had with Carney, like
Yeah. It's
whatever. Like I'm pretty chill. I think he knows the issues. I'm coming to with him for solutions, and we're getting those solutions from our community. We're getting it from each and every landlord that is out there. Anyone from property management, like don't be shy. You have to speak up. If you got to create a fake name to speak your mind, speak your mind. But I think that's all we have is our passion and our freedom of expression. And I think everyone needs to understand that it's so important for us to do more for our communities. And if you strengthen our communities, we can help other communities as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And
Thank you
that's
so
how I
much.
want to run. I want to run to be the voice of the people. So that's so when you don't have a strong voice, you leverage platforms like this to be that voice for you. So
Just be
kudos
that
to you.
counselor. Just be that counselor that goes in to change the system. But sometimes we have counselors coming in thinking that they're going to change the system, but the system ends up changing them. So I think this is where it's very important for us to get somebody that actually has a heart and the common sense approach. And we're seeing that, especially in Hamilton, with those Counselor Cooper and Counselor Paul, really getting that common sense. And you can feel the pressure that these people feel from other counselors, and it sucks. But I do want to make sure that we highlight those counselors and make sure that we can be a voice and help them become a voice for the people.
Yeah, I call that being at the table and not having table manners. That's what that is.
You know what? It sucks. It's a game. It's a game. And sometimes you got to play to play, because that's what I keep telling our tenants that are trolling online. I said, listen, man, I'm like, don't hate the player. You got to hate the game.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because we all have to have our 2 cents. But if we keep doing this, and we keep, creating the fact that taxpayers are going to be the people who um, are going to keep building, managing, maintaining, and subsidizing all this stuff, like we can't. Like we're already taxed. In the words of Doug Ford, we're already taxed to death, right? So we have to
Yeah,
start trimming back where our money is being spent, and put it to where it's actually going to help the people that are in our communities thrive, and
mhm.
give more of a hand up, not a handout, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, and we got to have the right people doing the right things right. That's what we need.
Well, thank you so much, Sean. I can't wait to have you on again as soon as you're ready to start the next campaign as you run for another city councilor position. And I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts. And I'm sure we're going to have you on again to share more thoughts about what's happening in Ontario.
Yeah, thank you for having me. All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Happy renting. We'll see you on the next KAYLA Unfiltered.
All right, bye.